Hey guys, so today I thought we would do something really special and do a top 10 fun facts about samurai, since samurai is coming out soon. So first of all, let's just get the logistical stuff out of the way. I know I haven't posted on my YouTube channel in forever, other than like, you know, Shifter's trailer and some stuff like that. I'm at a transitional period where I don't really have the time for YouTube and I don't really know what kind of content to put on here. The writing advice only goes so far, like I only have so much content. So until I figure out what kind of content I want to do on here and I have more time, my YouTube channel is going to be a little dead. I'm trying to keep up with it and I'm really sorry for that. But I hope that, you know, this chance to have kind of fun things for samurai. I want to have a lot of fun videos for samurai because it is my favorite. So hopefully you'll have a lot more content coming to the channel based around samurai, you know, so we can all get excited for it because it's my favorite in the Valiant series. So without further ado, let's do the top 10 fun facts about samurai. Number 1. So the inspiration behind samurai, basically at the time I ended up watching this anime called Hakoiki Shinsengumi Katan, and it's not a well-known anime, it's definitely not one of the mainstream anime, and it's more of a historical fantasy, and basically it tells the story of the Boshin War in Japan in 1860. This is when I first heard of the Boshin War at all, and basically that got me interested in the Boshin War, so I started researching it and everything, and I decided to, that's kind of where the inspiration behind samurai came from, is I wanted to do something like it. Obviously the Valiant series is set in other worlds, so I didn't want to include Earth, so I created my own fantasy world, and I really wanted to include a war in Japan, kind of like a Japanese style war, but I did not understand the politics of behind the Boshin War well enough to write it, and I made the decision that, okay, I don't understand this, I don't want to get the details of it wrong, so I'm gonna kind of make my own war with my own, the own political situation involving the characters and stuff, so that I don't have to try to copy from the Boshin War and try to understand it perfectly, because at the time I didn't know. Since then, I've actually, you know, done it perfect, written it, and it's an immortal. But this was years before that ever happened. So that's basically when I decided that the war behind the war that takes place in samurai was going to be a war of my own invention, and it wasn't going to be based off the Boshin War, although that was the main inspiration behind it. So fun fact number 2. As you guys may or may not know, the Valiant series was actually completely put on Wattpad and available free to read. A lot of them were put on Wattpad as I was writing them, but some of them were put on after they were written. And on Wattpad, I did have a fan base, and I did have several readers. One particular reader, she would get favorite characters. Obviously, she would have different characters in my different books that she really enjoyed reading, and it just so happened every single time she would get a favorite character, her favorite character would die. So this time, when she started reading samurai, she had commented on there and mentioned that she chose a random character, completely one of the random characters. I think he's a messenger in the story. And she's like, this time I'm picking a random character, so it won't necessarily be killed. So, but coincidentally, the hilarious coincidence was that the character that she picked was killed as well. And it was absolutely hilarious. So she and I both laughed about that in the comments. It was downright funny. So, fun fact number 3. So, the Valiant series is a 17-book series with 17 books in it. There are 5 prequels, and then the rest of them are the main books in the series. Samurai is actually one of the 4 largest books in the entire Valiant series. The other 3 longest are Immortal, and then the final book, which is actually split into 2 parts. It's called Valiant Part 1 and Valiant Part 2. That is the finale. So Samurai is actually up there with the top 4 largest books in the series, which created a problem later when I'm trying to get it published and the paperback version, because I'll get into that details later. Fun fact number 4. When I was getting the formatting done, it was actually over 1,000 pages long. I am not joking. It was like 1,160 something pages. And it struck me as odd because, yes, it's a long book, but it's only 120,000 words, 120K. And I was like, how in the world is this over 1,000 pages long? That doesn't sound right. I've read people, I started Googling it, trying to figure out what was going on. The bad part is that Amazon only allows the maximum amount of page count is 800 if you're publishing a paperback. So I actually had trouble. I was like, am I not going to get Samurai in a paperback? What am I supposed to do? So I started researching online, and people on Google had mentioned in different forums and stuff, they had books that were 140K, 150K, and I know that there are authors out there with books that are 200,000 or longer, and I was like, so 120K should not be unable to be published, and I was like, what is going on here? So here I was messing with the margins and trying to, all kinds of things I could think of, and I used the font Times New Roman at 12, at the size of 12, because that's, you know, pretty standard. And eventually I decided to try to take the Times New Roman and go from 12 to 10. It would make the text really small, probably too small for a lot of older people like my mom to read, but I was like, it may be something I have to sacrifice to get the page count down. And when I did chapter 1, it lessened it so much, and it occurred to me like, hey, I haven't really done the paragraph spacing yet. Let's try that and see if that works. So I went in there, changed the paragraph settings from just the normal standard to single paragraph spacing with like like the smallest setting it could possibly be. And that actually put it from over 1,000 pages down to 600 pages. So that ended up being my problem. Apparently I was a dummy who had not set the paragraph spacing, the line spacing yet. So that was kind of a funny little story, and a huge scare for me, because here I was panicking thinking I would never have a paperback version of Samurai. So however thick it may be, for those of you who order the paperback, believe me, it originally would have been probably double that. So yeah, I thought that was an interesting little tidbit. Fun fact number 5. So, one thing that I had to do in this book was a lot of research, and because I wanted it to be Japanese culture. Like, I didn't want just a fantasy world based off Japanese culture. Later in the book, there spoilers I can't talk about, but there is a reason and a way why some Japanese people in feudal Japan had to leave, and they went through a portal, ended up in a world, and this is that world. There's a huge, like, story and a big thing in it in the plot line later on in the series, and it connects with some of the events on Earth and all that stuff that gets into Jace's story a little bit in the other books, if you're following along with that whenever they come out. So needless to say, I did a lot of research because it essentially is just a Japanese culture that just split from Earth later. So I did a lot of research, and I wanted to include some of their language, a lot of their food, you know, everything about their culture was included in this book. So I did tons of research, and I honestly think it's one of my most culture-rich books that I've ever created, other than Immortal. And then Immortal is so scattered across history that I wasn't focused on one culture in particular, so I still think this one's one of the best. But one of the things in this was the doors that they have in Japan, and in the book during the feudal period are actually paper doors that slide open, and they're called sojis. Sojis. And I got that mixed up with the character from Hagouki, and he's named Soji, and these are shojis. I can't pronounce them very well, but they're on the screen. And there's also the spelling Soji without the U, so there's the 3 different spellings below. So during editing, we literally had to double check all of those, because I would have Soji with the H, I would have Soji with the U, and then I would have Soji with the O. And it was really confusing, and so we literally had to go through the entire document and double check and make sure they were all correct. So, fun fact number 6. So, Samurai was the first book in the Valiant series that I wrote that included other Valiant characters in it. Other Valiant characters that stay through the series are called Chosen, because Raiden has chosen them to fight against corruption. So later in the other books, the Chosen characters pop in and out pretty frequently, and it becomes very common. They pop in with Raiden, you know, storyline stuff. But Samurai was the first book that I wrote that actually did that. So it was kind of an experiment at the time, and I really, really enjoyed bringing these 2 particular characters into Samurai, because Samurai was my favorite book in the series, and I was really enjoying it, and it was so much fun to bring some of the Chosen in there, and that actually was what gave me the idea to include the Chosen in other books popping up at random times in the storyline. And it was also a way for readers to stay connected with them, because when you read, for instance, like Shifter, and you fall in love with those characters, after Shifter's over, you have to leave them behind and move on to a new world, to new characters. And that can cause readers to miss them. And me as the writer, I miss them too. So including them in other books in the series allowed me to kind of bring them in to the story and keep the readers connected, keep me connected, and until the final 4 books when they all come together. So yes, you will get to see 2 particular characters come in toward the end of Samurai for several chapters. So, fun fact number 7. So far, Samurai is the only book in the Valiant series to actually have 2 different maps. So, Hunter has one, which is Zagara. Shifter actually doesn't have any maps necessary or needed. And Samurai, of course, has 2. I don't know in the future books. I don't think any other book will have more, 2 or more. I think they'll all have 1 or 0. But we'll have to wait and see. So, in Samurai, the 2 maps is you have one that actually show the clan divisions in the entire world, and then you have a second map that shows the Sakamoto clan land specifically, along with all their towns, cities, villages, forts, and, you know, different geography features and stuff of that clan because they're relevant to the book and the plot and the storyline. So, fun fact number 8. Samurai was originally put on Wattpad back in 2015. At this point, I had it fully written, I believe, I think probably in 2014, so it was pretty close to being fully written at the time. And I posted on Wattpad. This was after I had started posting Hunter and had some readers that were interested, and I did it as a part of a challenge at the time to post a chapter a day. It was part of the chapter a day challenge back then, and I had it fully written, so obviously it wasn't hard to keep posting a chapter every day. And it started off as I was updating every chapter, I would have about an average of 600 reads in every chapter. And eventually, after Assassin got featured on Wattpad's website and stuff, on their featured program thing, the series kind of blew up, and so Samurai, the final count when I took it down, had 33.7 thousand reads on Wattpad. Fun fact number 9. So in one of the chapters in Samurai on Wattpad, a reader had actually gotten really angry that I hadn't killed off some characters because this particular reader wanted those characters to die. And just FYI, these characters weren't an evil villain that they believed should die. These were actually 2 of the main heroes, and they didn't like the fact that they hadn't died yet. And I had messaged them like, hey, the book's not over, blah, 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 because they had commented on there. And so this other fan started having a conversation with me, and ended up, this particular reader warned me not to start killing off characters a lot because my fans would band together and attack me and my family. And it was like interesting, and it was like really weird, and it's literally one of the weirdest fan interactions, reader interactions I've ever had with a fan, because it almost felt like they were threatening me because I didn't kill off a character, or because I did kill off a character. And it was weird, and some other readers were like, whoa, this is getting odd, like it was kind of a big deal at the time. But fortunately on Wattpad they don't show your location or anything, so nothing weird happened. And I think it was just kind of maybe an over-exaggerated comment this person did. I never really heard from them again, and it kind of just ended. So it was just one of the weirdest fan interactions I ever had. So I basically kind of had a fan practically threaten me for killing off a character. And I did not expect that. I actually did thank them, like, I'm glad you're so into my story that you would be this upset over it. But that seems a little bit too far. So that was a fun fact that I thought you guys would be really interested to know about Samurai. So, fun fact number 10. So far, Samurai costs the most out of the entire Valiant series to print. Hunter, Shifter, and Rebels are all less than $7 to print off in their paperback forms. Samurai costs over $10. So, just to print it off. That doesn't include the shipping that I have to pay, the little profit that I'll have to make on it, and that doesn't include Amazon's portion that the KDP that they take out of the overall price of the book. So it means that it's the most expensive paperback in the series so far at $18.99. Literally on KDP, when you're putting up your paperback, Amazon has a minimum list price, and this is basically the lowest price that you can set for your books. So like right now, literally the lowest price that I could charge was $16. I could not put it at $14.99 like Hunter and Shifter because they would not let me. So literally at the price it is now at $18.99, I am literally making $1.26 out of it. How is this possible, you ask? I'm glad you wondered. Basically the way it works is that Amazon gets a portion of the money. So for instance, at $18.99, I am getting 60%, they're getting 40%. So $18.99, you guys can do the math, but you take 40% out of that, and then that leaves me like $11 and some odd cents, and then the printing cost comes out of my portion of the royalties. So out of the $11 I get, the $10 and some odd cents that it costs to print the book is taken out of that $11 that I would earn, leaving me just $1.26. Essentially. So I make $1.26 every time somebody buys a paperback of Samurai. And if I purchase them myself, I have to purchase them at $10 and some odd change. And then I still have $5 to $8 of shipping to ship it to myself. And so if I charge, for instance, $18 from my website, I still have, so that's the $10 that I had already paid to buy the print version. That's the $5 to $8 of shipping that I had to pay Amazon to ship it to me. And then I still have to ship it to the fan. So we're already past the price that I would charge on my website for the book. So essentially, the profit is not very much on this because it's such a long book and because of the stupid way that Amazon handles this. And I'm not going through all of this just to, you know, get sympathy or anything like that. Like, I just wanted to be real about how this process works and kind of tell you guys how it works, but I can't edit anything else out. Like, everything is kind of like what's supposed to be there. And it's my favorite book in the series, so in my opinion, I think it's fully worth it. Like, I'm not just doing this for the money, I'm doing this because I love the books, because I love writing and everything else, and it's my favorite book in the series, so I'm very excited to have it out in print form, and for me, that's good enough. I don't care how much it costs or how much it doesn't make me or whatever. So, those are the 10 fun facts about Hunter. I hope that you have enjoyed them and found them interesting. What was the, you know, most interesting or weirdest fun fact in Samurai that you've learned today? I hope that you've enjoyed this. If you have enjoyed this video, please share it around with your friends. Please like it because that actually helps get me through the YouTube stuff, you know, that helps my video get viewed more. And please subscribe to my channel for more content. At this point, I don't know what content I'm going to be posting on YouTube other than Samurai stuff. But I hope to have some fun content planned for the future. I'm thinking about maybe doing writing challenges and filming me doing it. I don't know yet, and I have no ideas. If you do have ideas of what you'd like to see on my channel, please put it in the comments below. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed.